Alright. My second recording because my first one really sucked. You might listen this morning, you might wake up in the night and be able to listen to it. Just want to say I love you. I hope you enjoy these little I think I'm doing 4 short fables. So, you might like them, might not, but hopefully they get you to sleep and make you happy. Here we go. The first one is The Frog and the Ox. An ox came down, ready to pull. An ox came down to a readily pool, ready to drink. He splashed heavily into the water. He crushed a young frog into the mud. The old frog soon missed the little one and asked his brother and sister what had come of him. A great monster, said one of them, stepped on little brother with his huge feet. Don't mind that sneeze. A great big monster, said one of them, stepped on little brother with one of his huge feet. Big he was, said the old frog, puffing herself up. He was as big as this. Oh, much bigger, they cried. The frog puffed up still more. He could have not been bigger than this, she said. But the little frog had declared that the monster was much, much bigger than the old frog that kept puffing herself out until more once she burst. The moral of the story, do not attempt the impossible. Don't know why they had to kill a frog. Okay, this next fable is called The Belling the Cat. The mice once called a meeting to decide a plan to free themselves of their enemy, the cat. At least they wished to find some of the ways of knowing when she was coming, so they might have time to run away. Indeed, something had to be done, for they lived in such constant fear of her claws that they hardly dared to stir from their dens by night or day. Many plans were disguised, but none of them were thought good enough. At last, a very young mouse got up and said, I have a plan. They seemed very simple, but I know it will be successful. All we have to do is hang a bell about the cat's neck. When we hear the bell ring, we know immediately our enemy is coming. All the mice were much surprised that they never thought of such a plan before. But in the midst of the rejoice of their good fortune, an old mouse rose and said, I will say the plan of a young mouse is very good, but ask one question. Who will bell the cat? The moral of the story? It is one thing to say something that should be done, but it is quite different in the matter of doing it. Alright, next moral. Story. The town's mouse and the country mouse. A town mouse once visited a relative, lived in the country for lunch. Lived in the country. For the lunch of the country mouse served wheat, stock, roots, and acorns, with a dash of cold water for a drink. Tasty. The town mouse ate a very startling appetite, nibbling a little piece of this and a little piece of that, and by her manners making it very plain that she ate the simple food only to be polite. After the meal, the friend had a long talk, or rather, the town mouse talked about the life of the city, while the country mouse listened. They went to bed in a cozy nest in the hedgerows, and slept in quiet and comfort until morning. In her sleep, the country mouse dreamed that she was a town mouse of all the luxuries and delights of the city life, and that her friend had described for her So the next day, when the town mouse asked the country mouse to go home with her to the city, she gladly said yes. When they reached the mansion in the town in which the town mouse lived, they found that the table in the dining room were leaving very fine banquets. There was sweet meat and jelly, pastries, delicious cheese, and indeed the most tempting food for a mouse you can imagine. But just as the country mouse was about to nibble a dainty bit of pastry, she heard a cat mew loudly and scratch at the door. In great fears, the mice scurried to their hiding place, where they lay quiet for a long time, hardly daring to breathe. When at last they ventured back to the feast, the door opened suddenly and came the servants to clear the table, followed by the house dog. The country mouse stopped in the town's mouse den only long enough to pick up her carpet bag and umbrella. "You may have the luxuries and dainties that I have not," she said as she hurried away, "but I prefer my plain food and simple life in the country with peace and security that goes with it." Moral of the story: poverty with security is better than plenty and minstrel fear and uncertainty. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the morals and the fables and all that funness tonight or day, whenever you hear this. I love you so much, and I'm glad that I'm able to share my stories and special little things with you again. I love you so much. Have a great day, great night, or whatever time it may be.